Have you ever felt that the universe is trying to tell you something? There are times when life seems to whisper secrets that few can hear. If you've ever experienced a strange feeling that there's more than meets the eye, then you're about to discover signs that could transform your spiritual journey. Let's unravel together those invisible forces that are silently shaping your life. Have you ever noticed how the world around you suddenly seems more alive, as if something invisible has shifted? Many describe the onset of spiritual awakening as a moment when reality begins to unfold in ways that were previously unnoticed. It's as if the veil between what is tangible and what is spiritual becomes thinner, revealing a new dimension of existence. This first contact with transformation can come as a sudden sensation that things are no longer the same. What once seemed ordinary now carries a meaning that echoes beyond the obvious. During this phase, many people report an increase in perception. Colors become brighter, sounds more intense, and even a simple sunset can evoke an emotion that wasn't understood before. It's as if an awakening occurs in every detail of daily life. This expanded perception, however, is not always smooth. It can be overwhelming, bringing with it doubts and a mixture of wonder and discomfort. If you've ever felt a sudden urge to disconnect from routine and contemplate silence, it could be a sign that you're experiencing this stage. These first signs are not just sensory, they extend to the mind and heart. A desire for answers that go beyond the conventional can emerge, and questions that were once considered simple begin to take on a different weight. Why am I here? What is life, really? Spiritual awakening instigates profound questions, but paradoxically, the answers don't come from outside. They begin to be born within you, reflecting on your past experiences and showing that every step you have taken so far has had a purpose. This is a moment when intuition shyly ignites. You may notice a sense of knowing without knowing where it comes from, an inner certainty that transcends logic. Like a silent friend, this intuition can guide you towards choices that resonate with your true essence. You may feel the urge to change your routine or question ideas that you previously accepted without thinking. Gradually, the search for authenticity begins to take hold in your life, and what seemed familiar now carries an air of novelty and discovery. This initial journey is full of surprises and subtle transformations. But as you follow this call, you will soon realize that this new perception of the world brings more than a sensory understanding. It comes with an emotional intensity, a feeling of connection so strong that it can make you wonder if other people's emotions aren't somehow mixing with your own. As you deepen your spiritual journey, you may begin to realize that emotions are no longer just yours. They seem to flow like waves from everywhere, touching your heart in a different way. Suddenly, empathy stops being an abstract concept and becomes something visceral. This ability to deeply feel the emotions of others is one of the most intense signs of awakening, a real invitation to connect with the world on a new and deeper level. And with this openness comes both the delight of understanding others more clearly and the burden of absorbing feelings that sometimes don't belong to you. Imagine entering an environment and, without a word being spoken, feeling the tension, joy, or sadness that hangs in the air. This sensitivity is one of the most common challenges for those undergoing spiritual awakening. At first, it can be difficult to separate what's yours from what's other people's, and this can lead to a feeling of emotional overload. Moments when you don't understand why you feel anxious, sad, or even euphoric for no apparent reason are frequent. This increased empathy can be a gift, but also a test of your resilience and capacity for self-knowledge. Feeling the world with such intensity also brings a profound learning about compassion. When you begin to perceive the inner struggles that each person faces, the way you interact with others changes. Suddenly, judgments lose their force, and you find yourself offering understanding where perhaps before there was only indifference. It's as if this empathy becomes a tool for seeing into people's souls, revealing that, despite the masks we wear on a daily basis, everyone is somehow trying to find their way. On the other hand, it is crucial to learn how to take care of this new sensitivity. Without setting limits, it's easy to be consumed by all this emotional charge. Practices such as meditation and energy protection visualizations can help keep your mind and heart in balance, allowing you to remain open but protected. Self-knowledge becomes essential in order to recognize your emotions and separate them from what is absorbed from the environment. Over time, you develop the ability to choose which energies to welcome and which to let pass, keeping your center of peace intact. And so empathy turns from a burden into a strength. What once seemed like a heavy burden is now understood as a call for true connection with others and with yourself. This connection often leads to deeper reflections on who we are and why we are here, giving rise to a sense of isolation and uniqueness in the journey that not everyone around you can understand. As spiritual awakening progresses, a common feeling arises: loneliness. It's not just a physical loneliness, but a deep loneliness that makes you feel as if no one around you can understand what you're going through. Suddenly, superficial conversations no longer have the same appeal, and you find yourself searching for something deeper, something that resonates with the truth that has begun to emerge within you. This phase is both a challenge and a blessing, because although it brings a sense of isolation, it also opens the door to self-discovery. This solitude doesn't mean that you withdraw from others on purpose. On the contrary, it can be something that happens subtly and almost inevitably. The reality is that when you begin to perceive life in a more expansive way, the old connections that revolved around common interests or superficialities can begin to lose meaning. This disconnection can be painful and generate questions. Why do I no longer feel part of groups that used to fulfill me? However, it is a natural stage in the process of awakening. Loneliness, when embraced, becomes a path to personal growth. Spending time with yourself allows for a rare and profound introspection. It is in this space of silence and self-discovery that you find your innermost truths and begin to connect with the essence of who you really are. Although the feeling of not being understood can hurt, it also teaches you that the value of your journey doesn't depend on external validation. Learning to be your own support and to trust your own voice is one of the greatest gifts of awakening. It's important to remember that this phase of aloneness doesn't last forever. Over time, you begin to attract people into your life who share a similar vibration, souls who, like you, are seeking a deeper connection with life. These new relationships are different. They bring a sense of recognition and mutual support. Finding someone who understands what you're going through can be rare, but when it happens, it's like an invisible hug from the universe, a confirmation that you're on the right path. And so, this journey that begins with solitude, with questioning yourself and the feeling of being different, eventually opens up space for more attentive listening to the signs around you. Without realizing it, you begin to notice coincidences that don't seem so random, as if the universe were reaching out to show you that you were never really alone. Soon after feeling the intensity of solitude and learning to value your own company, something fascinating starts to happen. Small, seemingly disconnected events begin to align themselves so precisely that it's hard to ignore. It's as if the universe is silently whispering in your ear, confirming that you're on the right track. These are synchronicities, those moments when coincidences stop being coincidences and become clear messages, guiding and comforting you. A common example of synchronicity is seeing repeating numbers, like 1111 on the clock, or finding the same message in different places in a short space of time. It could be someone mentioning a topic you've just been thinking about, or a book falling off the shelf just as you're looking for answers. These signs are like subtle reminders that there is an alignment between what you feel internally and what is happening around you. It's the universe's way of showing you that, even in uncertainty, you are where you are supposed to be. The magic of synchronicities is not just in observing them, but in understanding what they mean to you. They can represent confirmation that the choice you have made is the right one, or a little push to reconsider a path. More than simple events, these experiences carry symbolism that can be interpreted in different ways by each person. The important thing is to keep your mind and heart open to how these events resonate with your personal journey. The constant appearance of synchronicities can bring a sense of wonder and connection with something greater. It's common to recognize these signs and feel more anchored and confident in your journey, however challenging it may be. However, it's also natural to question whether you're overreacting by paying attention to these coincidences. The key is to find a balance between recognizing the signs without forcing their meaning. This allows the process to flow naturally, without anxiety, and to remain authentic and profound. As you become more aware of synchronicities, something even more interesting can happen. You begin to feel that life itself is a dance orchestrated by something greater. This perception brings a sense of confidence that is reflected in your choices, and little by little, you realize that the changes that have taken place in your habits and relationships are part of a pattern that, even if you don't have all the answers, begins to make sense. As time goes by and the intensity of the synchronicities becomes part of your routine, you begin to realize that the changes are not just limited to the internal world. They begin to overflow outwards, affecting your choices, behaviors, and the people around you. During a spiritual awakening, it's common for old habits that once brought you comfort to lose their appeal. Activities that once filled your days begin to seem empty or purposeless, while new interests, more in line with your renewed essence, naturally emerge. This process of transformation may be subtle at first, but you'll soon notice that it affects even the smallest everyday decisions. Things like your diet, the way you spend your free time, and the people you choose to connect with begin to reflect your new state of consciousness. For example, you may feel a strong desire to adopt healthier practices, spend more time in nature, or dedicate yourself to activities that promote mental and spiritual well-being. These changes are not imposed. They flow from the inside out, as a natural expression of the new version of yourself. Relationships are undoubtedly one of the areas most impacted. As your vibration changes, resonance with certain people can weaken. Friendships and partnerships that once seemed solid can suddenly feel limiting or disharmonious. This doesn't mean that these people are bad, or that you should walk away in resentment. On the contrary, it's a time to recognize that every relationship has a purpose, and that sometimes taking different paths is a way of honoring growth on both sides. It's a process that, although it can be painful, carries with it a profound teaching about detachment and unconditional love. Interestingly, this distancing often opens up space for new connections, people who vibrate on the same frequency as you and share similar interests and perspectives. These new relationships not only welcome who you have become, but also stimulate your growth, reflecting aspects of your journey that you may still be discovering. These encounters are marked by a sense of immediate recognition, as if you were meeting up with old friends you never knew you had. Transformations in habits and relationships are ultimately a reflection of what is happening inside you. They show that spiritual awakening is not an isolated event, but a series of waves that affect every aspect of your life. And it is precisely in this integration of internal and external changes that the real search for truth arises. The desire to understand the purpose behind each change leads you to question not only what is around you, but the very meaning of existence and your role in it. As the changes take hold and become part of who you are, something profound happens. An insatiable hunger for the truth. This is one of the most transformative stages of spiritual awakening. Suddenly, the beliefs and certainties that supported your worldview begin to seem insufficient, like pieces of a puzzle that no longer fit together. This new perspective leads you to question concepts that you previously accepted without hesitation, from views on success and happiness to the most fundamental ideas about existence itself. This search for truth is not just intellectual. It stirs the soul. You feel a genuine need to find answers that resonate with your deepest self. Books, philosophies, spiritual practices, and even conversations with other people who have been through similar journeys become precious sources of insight. The interesting thing is that often the answers you find don't come in the form of words, but as sensations and intuitions. It's as if each internal discovery is a reminder of what your soul already knew, but had forgotten. During this phase, curiosity becomes a constant guide. It's common to seek knowledge in different areas, from science and spirituality to ancient wisdom and modern practices. However, this search can be challenging, as not all the answers are ready to be understood immediately. In many cases, the more you learn, the more you realize that the path is vast and mysterious, and that there is as much to unravel as there is to accept without full understanding. This duality between knowing and not knowing is in itself a form of growth. Over time, you begin to realize that the truth you're looking for doesn't lie in a single philosophy or practice, but in the coming together of various experiences and teachings. This realization brings a powerful freedom, that you can build your own truth, one that resonates with your unique journey. This phase also teaches that truth is a constantly evolving process. It can mean one thing today and, with new experiences and insights, take on a new meaning tomorrow. Accepting this flexibility is part of the path of the awakener. The search for truth ultimately leads to a new state of being, one in which intuition comes to the fore and becomes a constant inner guide. And this is how you begin to trust your inner voice more, realizing that, even without definitive answers, it points you in a direction of peace and self-knowledge. This silent guide, which emerges in the midst of chaos and questions, is what sustains the next and most profound step of the journey. After walking a path of questioning and searching, a crucial element stands out and begins to guide every step of your journey: intuition. This intuitive awakening is not something that comes overnight. It grows as you start to trust yourself more and the sensations that arise from within. Intuition, often described as knowing without knowing, begins to be noticed not just as a passing feeling, but as a serene and constant voice that manifests itself in decisions, encounters, and even in the smallest moments of the day. This inner guidance is especially important in the midst of chaos and uncertainty. When the outside world seems confused or overloaded with opinions and expectations, intuition presents itself as a beacon, a point of light that directs you towards what is most authentic and true. It's interesting to note that the more you tune into it, the clearer and stronger this voice becomes. In situations of doubt, you feel an inexplicable certainty about which path to take or which decision to make, even if it defies logic or the advice of others. Confidence in intuition grows with practice. At first, it's normal to doubt this inner voice, thinking that perhaps it's just a figment of your imagination. But the more you listen to it and act on it, the more you realize that choices based on intuition have a special quality. They not only resolve situations, but also bring a sense of peace and alignment that purely rational decisions don't always provide. Life begins to unfold more fluidly, as if there were a harmonious dance between you and the universe. This connection with intuition is also reflected in how you interact with the world and the people around you. It becomes easier to recognize what is true in other people, identify intentions, and understand subtle dynamics in relationships. Instead of feeling lost or dependent on other people's opinions, you can trust yourself to interpret situations and act according to what you feel is best. This empowerment brings a new layer of self-confidence, one that is not built on ego, but on essence. Intuition finally becomes the silent guide that helps you navigate through life with more lightness and purpose. It reminds you that even in storms, there is an internal compass that always points to your truth. And as this understanding strengthens, you realize that the journey of spiritual awakening is much more than just a set of changes. It is a constant invitation to listen to this inner voice, discover new paths, and grow with each step taken. The journey of spiritual awakening is a profound path, full of challenges and discoveries that transform not only who you are, but the way you see the world. Every sign, every synchronicity, and every awakening of your intuition are reminders that you are exactly where you should be, in a process of evolution that only you can walk. May you always remember to listen to that inner voice and honor every step of this sacred journey. If this message has touched you and brought clarity to your journey, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave your like and comment on your own experiences. Share this video with anyone you feel needs this light on their path. Thank you for being here until the end. Together, we raise our consciousness and expand our connection with the universe.